And happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Blue Review. Greg, looks like there's some things you want to get into as, you got the show running in the back.
Look, the show's running in the back, but you're not wearing hoodies, so it doesn't matter what I'm doing.
Okay,
both of you.
Can we have a moment of
I'm saying it's summer now. We have officially hit summer. It's a little warm for hoodies.
You got to let me know these things.
I literally just came up with this just now. Like,
I am very hot in here. I'm not gonna lie. I was sticking to the bit.
So no, I feel like we can put the bit on hold. Like I think we should keep the hat thing going, but I think hoodies we can take a break from.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Hat Friday.
Should I just take this off?
Sure.
Live on
air. This is not how this show was supposed to start.
Not one bit. Oh man. But yeah, while Greg takes his hoodie off, I did want to say, I also had that moment of clarity, Marcus, where I sat there and I take the Metro to work and I figured it's always hot in the Metro. If I'm wearing the hoodie on the Metro, I'm going to be sweating on my way into work, and that would be terrible. But hey, before we get into anything, speaking of the Metro actually goes to LAX, and I wanted to remind everyone that here at the Blue Review, we're presented by LAX, our friends at Los Angeles International Airport. If you want to learn more, you can find it out at flylax.com. I'm sorry, flylax.com/transforminglAX. But what they're doing there is great, changing the travel experience, reducing traffic, and just saving guests time. So yes, Metro, LAX, all great stuff. Hat and Friday, the new thing, no hoodies. But Greg, let's send it to you because you had something that you wanted to get into that I thought was kind of funny because it's an interesting day for the Dodgers.
Yeah, it is an interesting day for the Dodgers. Shohei Ohtani is going to They're playing the Angels at Dodger Stadium. It's the first time he's going to see the Angels in a regular season game since he left them after 7 years of nothing. And I had two thoughts, and one of them, Marcus, was, could you imagine if Shohei Ohtani was still on the Angels? Like, I would feel so bad for him right now. Like, just with this team, I would feel so bad for him to be on this team.
I mean, it's sort of the way we have felt about Mike Trout for years, right? That here it is. You had a guy who was a generational talent, and I know especially in football, they say generational talent like all the time, but like literally Mike Trout, when he hit the league and when he was in his prime and at his peak, is a generational talent. And you just, like the poor dude, I guess for him, I don't know if it's great, but like he was busy at Eagles games in October. Like he wasn't playing baseball. So like, you felt bad. And it would be the same thing for Shohei. I mean, I guess for folks in San Diego, it's like watching Tony Gwynn all those years, like never
do anything
at all.
I think they made the playoffs though at least once or twice. So
they made the World Series. They made the World Series once against the Yankees. They got like stomped out by the Yankees or something.
He didn't even make the playoffs. But imagine him being on this specific Angels team. And I was talking about with Travis yesterday, and I know, but look, we're going to leave Parker out for now. We're going to go to Parker a lot when it comes to this because I know nothing about the Angels because there's nothing to know. But I want to know if you, Marcus Grant, can you name me two Angels starters, not pitchers on the offense? Name me two guys that are currently playing on the Angels.
Logan O'Hoppe.
Oh, nice job. And I missed that one.
Taylor Ward.
Is Taylor Ward still there? I thought he wasn't there. Is he there still?
Yes, still there.
Is he a starter?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Good job.
He missed out a large portion of last year because he was hit in the face, unfortunately, by Alex Manoah. Scary hit, but he's been back and he's been playing decent.
So the two that I came up with Luis Rengifo and Taylor Ward, but I didn't know if I was right on Taylor Ward. And I was like, I don't know if those are even guys that are injured playing. I have no idea.
And so I'll say this. The reason that I at least kind of know is that, like when the Dodgers aren't playing, if I'm just at the house and I just want something on, like I will throw on an Angel game.
Really?
Like,
why?
I won't because like, like sometimes like I will watch. Let me use the watch is sort of a loose term here. Like I will have sports on in the house if I'm doing something else, right? Like maybe I'm cleaning the kitchen or I'm, getting the kid ready for something or whatever. Like I just will sometimes want to have a game on, even if it's two teams that I'm not particularly interested in. And so like often, especially in the evenings, the Angels are on. And if the Dodgers have played earlier in the day, if they're off, I'll throw on an Angel game and sort of, have it on in the background. So I think by osmosis, I have sort of absorbed a little bit of the Angels this year, a little bit.
Yeah. So I went into it. I was sitting with Parker and I was looking, okay, let's look at some of the last games. Obviously, they didn't play yesterday. It was a Thursday. It was an off day. And the last time they played, they lost to the Brewers 2-0. Tyler Anderson has like a 2.50 ERA. He threw 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, and got the L. Is that the most Angels thing that can possibly happen?
It's not, because the game before that, they were down by 3. And Taylor Ward, actually, as we mentioned his name, hit a home run that would have tied the game. It got robbed to actually end the game. The game-tying home run was robbed in the right field. It was ridiculous.
Oh, God. Oh, boy. Oh, that is insane. So, all right. So coming up today, they are playing the Angels. It's Patrick Sandoval. He used to be good a couple of years ago. I know nothing about him anymore, but it's Patrick Sandoval versus Landon Knack, and we can get into Landon Knack. But Parker, tell us what we're going to be seeing out of Patrick Sandoval.
I mean, 2-8 on the year. Not looking good. I think his ERA is almost bumped up to 4. I'll have to double check that, but
it's a 5.24 right now.
There we go. So there's a 4 in there. Yeah, like you said, a couple years ago, he showed out enough to where he earned that spot on the Mexican national team, and he had a few great outings during that run. When that Mexican team they went pretty deep in the tourney in the World Baseball Classic. So everybody thought coming into this year, Sandoval is going to be the ace outside of maybe Detmers. Ooh, that's a whole nother conversation that we could get into. I'll save that for the Red Review. But I think what you're going to see is a hard throwing lefty. You're going to see those fastballs coming at you around 96, 97. But the command this year just hasn't been there. So if the Dodgers are patient, which they have been, guys like Pages, guys like Vargas are actually putting up good at-bats now. I expect this to be a blowout, not going to lie.
Well, you say that, but I mean, again, like we talk about, sometimes this team plays down. Although I'll say this, they went out and they played good ball in Colorado, right? Like they are light years better than the Rockies, and at least for 3 of those 4 games, most of 3 of those 4 games, they showed that they were better than the Rockies. So hopefully, they keep that going this weekend.
Yeah. And also, it's just to reiterate my point yesterday. It's still a stupid ballpark, no matter what. No matter what they took 3 out of 4 of, that is a stupid ballpark, and it shouldn't be a ballpark anymore. If there was a way to fix it, I would love to actually fix that thing, because it just isn't. It's not a real ballpark. It's like a AAA park. It's not something that any major leaguer wants to go play in. Any major league pitcher, any major league hitter, everything is different. Every time you throw the ball, it's different. Every time you hit the ball, it's different. They got to put like a dome or something on that place.
The way to do it is to put it at sea level, just like airlift it off of out of Denver and put it in, like, I don't know, Hermosa Beach or something. Whatever, that'll fix the whole thing.
Right. It's just a stupid ballpark. I know we won 3 or 4, but still, it still is a stupid ballpark. But either way, so Landon Knack is being called up. He actually had some good outings. He's not a very hard thrower. He's pretty light throwing pitcher, but he played pretty well for the Dodgers earlier in the season. What are you hoping out of Landon Knack, Marcus?
I mean, look, this is, I think, going to be sort of a bullpen game. I know that was the thought originally before they made the move to bring Knack up. So right now, if you're Landon Knack, if you can get them through 3, maybe 4 innings, I think you're going to be fine there. I think that's the hope, right? You get through about 4 innings, just throw, some solid and throw strikes, try to keep them off balance, keep them off base, and hope/assume that the offense is going to put something together and get something going. I mean, what did Shohei do in the preseason? I feel like in spring training, he didn't really do a lot necessarily. So maybe this is like time to turn it up against his former club.
Yeah. What did he do? Do you remember, Parker? Did Shohei do anything in those 2 games?
I mean, I think he still hit relatively decent average, but he had those moments where it was just like he got a hit, then or Mookie got a hit, then he got a hit, then Freddie got a hit, and everybody was like, "Here we go." Those are the main things.
Oh, I miss those days all of a sudden. Yeah, but it's so either way, I'm hoping for a lot of Landon Knack. It's nice that they brought him up, and hopefully if he can go 5 innings, 6 innings would be really like kind of pushing it, but be great because the bullpen was absolutely destroyed over this series in Coors Field. So if the longer he can go, the better. And so because otherwise it's probably going to be him going, like you said, 3-4 innings, and then Ryan Yarbrough would probably be the guy that goes behind him. Going back to yesterday's game, Marcus, Gavin Stone was absolutely fantastic again.
Mhm.
He ended up giving 2 runs up because Blake tried and gave a hit and gave up 2 of his runs, inherited runners. But the fact is, he is still pitching very, very well. Parker, you were bringing up whether or not he should be in the All-Star game. What do you think, Marcus?
I'd love to see it. I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, for the biggest thing that the All-Star game is sort of a popularity contest, and Gavin Stone just doesn't have that sort of cachet to him. But it would be a very cool honor to see him in something like that. But I think if nothing else, even if he gets votes, others nominated, I think would be kind of cool. I just would be very surprised if we see him added to this All-Star staff because, pitching is deep and mostly because fans want to see recognizable names out there on the mound in the All-Star game.
He has been really good. And also, the only thing that worries me is that the Dodgers had a ton of these guys that do that, right? They start off the first half of the season super hot, go into the All-Star game, and then we don't really hear much from them afterwards. Ross Stripling, Kazi Shii are names that come to mind for me. Who else? There was another one, too. Alex Wood did this at one point. Like, there's guys that come in and are like 10-0 going into the All-Star break. He's 8-2. He gets the All-Star nod, and then they're just a mess the rest of the way. Kazi Shii was definitely the guy that was. I think he was up 10 or 11-0. Made the All-Star game, and then
I haven't
was
heard that name in a long time.
Yeah, it's because he had that 1 year.
I mean, this is because of injuries, but Gonsolin was kind of the same way. What was he?
Oh, Gonsolin.
Yeah. He still ended up having a decent year, but then he got hurt, unfortunately.
He got hurt, and then we didn't see him in the playoffs, and it was kind of a waste.
Yeah. But hey, send my boy Stone to Arlington. It's at Globe Life this year, correct, Marcus? I don't know.
It is at Globe Life. You are correct.
Yeah. Send him to Texas. 6-1, 239 in his last 8 starts. I mean, if he has another couple quality starts, why not? Dodger fans, do your thing. Go out and vote.
You get to vote for pitchers. I don't think you vote for pitchers, right?
I don't think so. I think it might be coaches.
I think you're right.
I think it's just
pitchers is too hard.
It's so many. Like starters, relievers. What happens to like openers? It's a whole thing.
We'll start the discourse, Dodger fans.
Give it hashtag Stone to Arlington.
Yes.
Something along those
lines.
Hashtag
get stoned. That's what it is.
Yes. Oh, that's perfect.
Get stoned.
How could I not think about that? Nicely done.
Trademark that.
Mason would have had that. Mason would have had that for
Mason would. Yeah, exactly.
I don't see Steve Mason in the chat, by the way. One of our avid chat followers. So hopefully they pop in and we can. Yeah. But looking at yesterday as well, I think you mentioned a little bit of the bullpen, and I see the chat wanting to get into it a little bit. Greg, your boy Vesia, he settled in after, but he gave up a bomb. I think you're just crediting this to Weird Field.
Yeah, stupid ballpark. That's what I credit it to. But it's also it's what we've been talking about with Vesia all the time. He gives up that long bomb, and eventually those long bombs are going to go out. They have been dropping a little bit dead right at the warning track, but for the most part, it's going to start coming back to bite him. I don't think anything with this one because it is stupid ballpark Coors Field. Otherwise, I might have had a little bit more thoughts on it, but this doesn't mean anything to me.
It's stupid ballpark. It's also like I didn't have a problem with it in the context of what was happening in the game. He came in, It was the 8th inning. He had a 3-run lead. He did what he's supposed to do. Like in that situation, you just throw strikes, and he challenged with the 2-0 fastball, and McMahon was waiting on it and got it. And I was like, okay, well, all right, it happens. So like he settled in, as you mentioned, Parker. He got through the rest of it. The Dodgers didn't give up another run the rest of the game. So that was sort of like, all right, it's just one of those things. He did what he was supposed to be doing in that situation, and then he just got one time.
Mm-hmm. But there were a lot of positives. I wanted to get into these, Greg, before. Sorry, I don't know if I interrupted you there.
No.
Some names that we want to have step up have been stepping up. Pages being one of them, and then it looks like Vargas is showing some signs of what will be a solid, next few months. What do you think, Greg? I'm just going to throw those 2 names out there and get your initial reactions.
I'm very, very happy with Andy Pages. He has been absolutely everything that we wanted out of him. He came in starting super hot. Then he was just swinging away at absolutely everything, and the pitchers kind of figured him out, kept him off balance. but he has made the adjustment to the adjustment that we talk about all the time. And he's been a wonderful for the last month and a half. I think he's batting somewhere around 400 during that time. Got to be was in the cleanup spot the other day, and he just keeps getting hits after hit after hit. And it's just really nice to see that a guy like him can be steady and can really keep moving. And the other guy you were talking about, Miguel Vargas, he just needs the at bats, because every time he's come up, he has been productive. And so, I mean, it's almost like a blessing in disguise about Mookie, which is not really, you can never say it's a blessing when Mookie Betts goes down, but it's giving Miguel Vargas a little more run, and he is proving that he can actually get some hits. So if he can keep that going on, if he can keep just being confident at the plate and be somebody at the bottom of the lineup that is going to keep moving things along, great. I want to see more of that.
Is this part of the show where we get to mention that Chris Taylor had 2 hits and a walk yesterday?
Was it 2 hits? I thought he had 1 hit, and then
so he had 1 hit and a walk. He got a hit later in the game, too.
Oh, he did.
So I mean, he had 2 hits and a walk. Too. He's 4 for his last 9. The average is up to 131. He's I'm trying to think. He's still a little ways off from hitting his weight, but he's getting better. It's getting better. He's listed at 190. He's listed at 6'1", 196. So he needs about 65 more points on the average. Hitting his weight.
Yeah.
I mean, good for him. Good for him.
Yes.
He does it great.
Hypothetically, if you start getting those 2 guys who we mentioned, Vargas and Pages, hitting really well, and then every now and then, every other game or so, you get a little RBI from a Taylor, I don't see this Dodgers team losing that 9-game lead in the division.
I don't think that's in jeopardy at all.
Yeah.
I just think just based on the rest of the teams in the division, it's not gonna, I mean, nobody else is at 500. You know?
I look at the standings almost every day, and one day it's the Padres, then it's the Diamondbacks, then it's the Giants in second place. It just keeps moving. They keep interchanging with each other because they keep losing.
But not the Rockies. The Rockies are still at the bottom.
No, they're very, very far down. But Chris Taylor, I'm going to give Chris Taylor a little bit of credit. I'm going to give Dave Roberts and the coaching staff a little bit of credit. They said, we will, at the beginning of the year, we will not judge Chris Taylor until he has 100 at bats. And he's at 99 right now. So
there we go.
If this is the start, which I tend to doubt this is a start, it's just a little hot streak that guys go on sometimes. But if it is, and they said 100 at bats, and this is when it's starting to happen, I will give them all the credit in the world, because they were patient in 100 at bats, more so than me, you, Parker,
than any of us,
anybody else.
And I was saying this, I think this comes from knowing your guys and seeing them up close every single day. Because what was the thing with Gavin Lux? We want to give him 150 at bats, and then we said, a few weeks ago when he was starting to get to that number, like, okay, look, it's starting to come together. Like, it's not spectacular, but he's starting to put the ball in play. He's starting to hit the ball hard. And so Gavin Lux, sort of by unfortunate circumstances, now going to be more relied on, but he's also starting to generate some more offense. Same thing with Chris Taylor. They're talking about 100 at bats. You said he's at 99, and here he is, 4 for his last 9. Not only that, showing a little bit of power, a little bit of slug there as well. So, hey, look, shout out to Dave Roberts. I know he catches a lot of hell from fans. But he also is in the trenches with these guys every single day, and he knows them on a level that certainly the rest of us from the outside don't. And so he has a pulse, and it seems that, like, for now, things are sort of working out in his favor.
Yeah, so that's interesting, Marcus. Because look, when do we give the credit to Dave Roberts, and when do we give the credit to Andrew Friedman? Everything that we've been saying for years and years and years and years is that it's all Andrew Friedman. Dave Roberts is Andrew Friedman's puppet. He just does whatever Andrew Friedman says. But now when there's something good, when it's bad, we tend to blame Roberts. And now when it's good, you're giving credit to Roberts. What's the right balance in all of that? And how much does that actually even matter?
I was going to say, if not both.
Yeah.
I think in some way, like, I think something like this, right? When you're talking about setting a lineup every day and getting these guys at bats and trying to find, where they slide into things, I think that really is Roberts. I think when you talk about roster construction, I think a lot of that does go to Friedman, about the players they bring in and maybe who they're calling up and that sort of thing. I think that definitely belongs to the front office. I think when you get into pitching, especially in the postseason, I think that's kind of a gray area, because we know that they have the formula about what they want. And that is definitely a Friedman thing that I think Roberts has to carry out. And I think that's the reason Dave Roberts gets so much grief because I think we all look at this and we say this formula that you guys have concocted doesn't seem to be working. And Roberts seems like some robotic slave to it. And I think we just sort of want him to kind of break off the shackles and say, like, hey, man, just stick with this guy because it's working, or get rid of this guy because it's not working. And I think that's where the frustration comes in.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. And also, like, we have to kind of give that to him, right? Because I'll give him this. Earlier this year, the Johan Ramirez thing, that was 100% Dave Roberts. Dave Roberts going out, consoling him on the mound while that was happening. That's right, Parker. Like that was 100% Dave Roberts. And that kind of shows you what the kind of guy he is. Now, that's not going to take me off my position, and I don't think it does for you, but I'm not going to put words in your mouth. If they lose the World Series or don't make the World Series, I still think he should be fired, because it just means they need another voice in the room or somebody that will kind of break away from the formula in the postseason. But he is proving, and if I was him too, I would just be like, hey, this is my job's in jeopardy right now, according to all the people. I don't know if he actually feels that way, but my job's in jeopardy this year. I'm going to do what I think is best. I'm going to be the manager of this club, and no matter what, I'm going down or I'm going to go to the top. I don't know. It's a tough spot.
Going out swinging.
It's definitely a tough spot. I mean, that's sort of what comes though with expectations and with winning, right? I mean, if you are, let's say this, right? If you're right now Bob Melvin with the Giants, right? If you were Colorado, the expectations aren't there. And so, you don't necessarily want to be 20 games out of first place, but also nobody's really talking about your seat being hot because, you're making weird pitching moves in the 7th inning. Like, you have a lot more runway to sort of make mistakes and try things. Whereas for Dave Roberts, everybody looks at this roster and you spent $1 billion on free agents this offseason. It's like, well, we got to have something to show for it. And that something has to be hoisting a trophy at the end of the year.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with all those sentiments. And Greg, I think you make a good point. And I see the chat agreeing with you. It's a rough world out there, but that's just what comes with, one, being the Dodgers coach, and two, what you've shown in your history of the last few years, making the playoffs and, of course, not going all the way.
Yes,
but Marcus,
can I just real fast?
Please,
you can do it. Can we come to agreement, just for the Blue Review's sake? Can we come to an agreement that we are going to give every decision from here on out that's not, trade deadline, roster acquisitions, things like that, every decision we are going to give, it is either Dave Roberts' fault or we give Dave Roberts the praise. It's not, can we come to agreement there?
That's fair.
We're putting it all on him.
We're
saying this is him.
But now if they make a trade and, that trade ends up blowing up, or that guy, then that's a Friedman thing.
Yeah, who was the guy that came over from Brian Dozier? If it's a Brian Dozier trade and he hits 2 home runs in the very first 2 games he has, and everyone said, "Oh my God, look at him!" and then he sucked the rest of the way. That's not his fault.
I totally forgot about that guy.
that was my.
There's
big
a reason.
That was a big thing for me when it happened. I was working at Dodgers Nation, I believe, when it happened, and I was like, I hate this trade. I hate this. If you look at what Brian Dozier, I think it was the Twins actually.
Yep, it was the Twins.
Yeah, I hate this trade. If you look at what Brian Dozier does, he just falls apart. He's not doing any good. I hated it. And people were killing me because he hit a home run in the first 2 games. And I was like, look, I'm not backing off. I still think he's no good. And he was terrible, absolutely terrible the rest of the way. And I was like, yeah, how about that?
Well, we're going to be getting closer to that moment again, where we have to watch out for the trade deadline and what Friedman will do decisions-wise, and what Doc will continue to do decisions-wise. Marcus, while we have a minute, I did want to just bring up one of those decisions Doc has made, since we're clearly pinning it on Doc, is Shohei to the leadoff spot. And since taking the leadoff spot, I'm going to give it to you.
Oh, yeah, Marcus.
17 appearances.
My name is Marcus Grant, and I am a clown.
Can we cut that? Can you cut that part?
That's being cut. Yeah. 5 extra base hits, Marcus. 7 RBIs, 529 on base percentage. And, of course, we're just seeing some massive dongs, as Sedano would say on Sedano and Cap Show.
That's what they're called. He's right. Yes. That's what they're called.
So, Marcus, I appreciate you wearing that on the chest. We will see Ohtani lead off against his former team tonight against Patrick Sandoval, one of his best friends on the team, actually. So this will be fun to see. If there's any storyline, I guess it's maybe him seeing his friends. Team-wise, we all know there's no story there. So this has been the Blue Review. Thank you to Marcus Grant for being here. Thank you to Corporate Greg. We'll be back Monday at 9:30. As always, we're going to be here reacting to Dodgers baseball, giving you the best Dodgers content here on ESPN LA. Stay tuned because there's some more news, I guess, Greg, to drop on ESPN LA. So
yep, Travis and Sliwa are going to announce it just coming up. And by the way, Mandy's tomorrow. Mandy's. Make sure you're at the Mandy's tomorrow. It's the biggest night we have all year. Really excited for it. I got my suit. I'm going to look good.
Yes.
And we'll see you there at the Mandy's tomorrow. And stay tuned for Travis and Sliwa to give us the very last announcement on announcement week coming up in 5 minutes.
Awesome. Thank you, LAX.